Hi guys, welcome to the vlog that I didn't mean to make. I started collecting footage, started filming some of my meal prep, started chatting with the camera and laughing about the temperature here in South Florida, how ridiculous I looked going to work, and just laughing and having a good time. But then something happened. And that's pretty much where the vlog ended. But welcome back. If you're new, hi, my name is Erin. I am a married woman in her 40s, just making fun little videos and learning things about editing and different things like that, and how life is like in Florida and the daily life. I almost didn't record this. I almost didn't put this on the internet. I think sometimes we feel like life is fun and happy and giggly, and sometimes we just focus on the highlight reel of life, and that's kind of what everybody shows. But I wouldn't be being true to myself if I didn't put this in. I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. And maybe by putting this out there and making myself vulnerable, it will help somebody else that is kind of feeling the same way. Hi, guys. I wanted to have a little talk. And I figured, why not go to the most comfortable place in my house, which is my nice, cozy bed, because this video might be a little vulnerable. This week's video was going to be something totally different. It started off fun and with my usual routines and meal preps and things like that, and going to work, and it was chilly and cold and fun, and I was having a good time. And then something happened. My couple years old battery wouldn't turn over one morning, and not in my driveway. It turned over here. And then I have a gas station just down the road, and I went to get some gas, and that's where my car wouldn't turn over. The battery was done. I went to the gas station, just told them what was going on. They were super chill. I walked back to my house because I wasn't that far. My dad came. He helped me jump the car. I put gas in my car, which was why I was there. And all this sounds completely fine and normal. Like, okay, your battery didn't start. Your dad had to come jump you, which is so nice of him. I love God bless Dad. My husband works over an hour away, so it was just not feasible for him to come, because he would have. I am very much a person of routine. I've spent quite a few years gradually making my morning routine, my morning habits, so that I am in a good headspace to go to work. I'm ready to go to work. I've got everything set. And it's taken me a few years to do that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I have struggled my entire life, literally my entire life, with different anxieties and being very fearful and nervous. My parents used to have to, when I was very little, calm me down if my sisters were crying, and be like, it's fine. We got this. They're okay. You can calm down. I was just always a very anxious person, and a very anxious child when I was young, and as an adult too. I mean, through different chapters in your life, it shows up more in the forefront than another. It's just life, and you kind of learn to deal with it. So I have, over the years, set myself up for different habits that help me go through the rest of the day, if that makes sense. I have a very good morning routine, which I was thinking of doing something on in the future. But the downside to that is, whenever something is like a wrench is thrown into that system, I have a very, very difficult time continuing on. I carry it in my stomach. I get a big knot in my stomach, and I'm really talking myself through it. So anyways, we got the car jumped. Thanks, Dad's my hero. I get to work, but in the back of my head all day, and that knot in my stomach all day of, this car's probably not going to start at the end of the day when I have to go home again, which is not a big deal. Here's the thing with anxiety and stress and things like that. Your logical brain knows that this is not a big deal. You're in a safe environment. You're surrounded by people you know and trust, people that have all the equipment in their cars to get your car started if you need to. But the logic side doesn't really talk to the other side of your brain that gets you
controls your stress levels and everything. So there's a miscommunication that happens. And I really struggled that day. So what I did is I went to my parents' house after because my dad had said I could borrow one of his trickle chargers to put on all night and see if it had just been dead and I didn't have enough length of time driving to work to allow the alternator to fully charge it again and the coldest to draining it. That's kind of the theory we had. But so we put it on the trickle charge all night. My husband started it in the morning before he left for work. He came in, he's like, it's starting great. You're good to go. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. So when I left for work, it started up. However, I did hear a slight hesitation for it to start. And I most likely because I was super hyper focused on it and the sounds it was making and everything like that. So now I started fine. I get to work. My morning routine is fine. But in the back of my head, I'm going, I heard that struggle. And I don't think it's going to start at the end of the day again. It's in my stomach. And I'm trying to work and I'm trying to focus on my responsibilities at my job. Thankfully, I've got an amazing team, an amazing boss. And when it got closer to the end of the day, he's like, Erin, why don't you go see if your car can turn over? Because he was one of the guys out there helping me. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Of course, nothing. Thankfully, it did start up the first jump this time, and I was able to take it home. But it really shouldn't, but does. It messes me up. It completely disrails me. It completely spirals me when things fall out of the pattern that I live my daily life. I know I'm not the only one that has these issues. Many people, it doesn't bother them. They kind of thrive in chaos and thrive in disorganization. Not me. Not me. This is something I've always had to kind of make ways to cope with just to kind of keep going and not completely unravel and just shut down. But anyways, that's what happened halfway through this vlog week. And I wanted to come on and kind of explain what was going on. And I know some of you are like, that's not a big deal. And in my own head, I'm like, it's not a big deal, literally. Like I just had to replace the battery. But I think we all go through this. I think right now especially, we live in such a state of high stress almost all the time, whether we're trying to or not. Like everything is expensive. There's a lot of things going on, especially in our country in the United States at the moment, that I kind of steer clear of politically on this channel especially. And even though you might be trying to not to limit the amount of information coming in, it still affects you, the things going on in the world, and a lot of us are just trying to make it through every day. For me, that routine keeps me mentally sound. It keeps me calm. It keeps me in the right state of mind to go on and do my work for the day. And so when something like that isn't planned pops up and disrupts that, it can be very jarring and very intrusive in my mental state. As vulnerable as this is to say, and it's hard to admit this and talk about it in front of people on the internet that you may or may not know. It's just something that happens. And I think a lot of people deal with this. And I think it needs to be spoken about and addressed and acknowledged. And we can all help each other through it. So that's what I'm putting in this video. That's what I decided to go with and put out there. Yeah, today I'm just going to do some light stretching and maybe some meditation and kind of mellow out. My husband's getting me a new battery, so I'm really excited about that. He's the man of the hour. The rest of this video is just going to be kind of little things that I'm doing to get myself back up to where I need to be. I hope that you found this helpful if you're also someone that struggles with things like this, and just know that you're not the only person that does. So we will talk to you guys later.
Chris is getting me a new battery. He's a good husband. I think anxiety and stress is something that so many people deal with, and sometimes acknowledging it and just putting it out there, knowing that you're not alone, can really be helpful. Over the years, I've found different ways to help cope and minimize the feeling of stress and anxiety, and just little ways that I have learned help. if this wasn't your bag, if this wasn't your type of video, that's no problem. Please be back next week for more fun and interesting things going on and in my life here in Florida. But if this was helpful, I'm so glad that we were able to share this and go through this kind of together. And please know that you're not alone. Take a deep breath, and tomorrow's a new day. I'll see you next week.